Shouldn't a gamer have the right to enjoy a game he spent $60 on? Shouldn't an artist have the right to create whatever he likes? It's a discussion between creative freedom and player choice today on a very special featured episode of Pretty Good Gaming. And having personally died a lot in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I always think back to what my wise old grandfather used to say in times of soul-crushing defeat. It's time to get good, scrub.
Forbes writers can't seem to agree about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. The American business magazine covers most of the world's industries and are a respected outlet on a number of topics. One of the industries they cover is the video game industry, meaning they put out reviews for the latest AAA games and sometimes have insights into the business side of things. One they've recently been talking about is the largely beloved Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. In Forbes review in progress by Eric Kane, he said, "I think Sekiro may be one of the very best games ever made, but it's not going to be for everyone."
There's a bigger question here is how do you say it? Sekiro or Sekiro?
Sekiro.
Sekiro.
So, yeah, I think Sekiro.
That's the bigger discussion, right?
Yeah. The review acknowledges how difficult the game is and that not everyone will be able to get behind it. Well, one of those people seems to be Kane's fellow Forbes journalist, freelancer Dave Thier.
He's a second-tier journalist, isn't he?
Ha! Nice. Oh. In an article titled Sekiro Shadows Die Twice needs to respect its players and add an easy mode, Thier laments the game's lack of widespread accessibility and how it forces players to play a certain way. Before I even came across this article, the original reviewer retaliated. In direct response, Kane wrote a piece called "No, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice absolutely does not need an easy mode." He specifically counters many of Thier's arguments about how easy mode would be beneficial, instead highlighting that it would be detrimental to the game. Thier believes that players should be allowed to play how they want and that the developers FromSoftware should accommodate this. He says that it would be completely optional, so the core experience wouldn't be compromised for the devoted Soulsborne fans who wouldn't use the easy mode. Kane, on the other hand, argues that easy mode would be damaging to the newcomer's experience more than anyone's because they would be missing out on the true appeal of the games. Not every game has to be for everyone, something that Kane even says in his review. Thier claims to be a fan of the previous FromSoftware games and has held his beliefs about an easy mode across all of them. Is the game disrespecting players by not having an easy mode, or is Thier disrespecting the artists by demanding they add it?
So this is where the discussion part of the video kicks in now. It is a case of, you know, it's Kane versus Abel, you know, or unable, or second tier journalist as we've dubbed him here. Second tier journalist.
I'm almost offended at how well that works.
So I picked out a couple of the quotes from the articles, and what's notable here is that they're both from Forbes, right? And it's kind of like Kane's retaliating to this Thier's article in the first hand, saying that he needs an easy mode, and Kane's saying, "Hang on a minute." It's almost like he's trying to defend the honor in like a Japanese way of Forbes as an outlet.
Yeah.
It's like, hang on a minute,
we're a
Forbes,
respected outlet.
We're not just about like these scrubs who can't play Soulsborne games. But anyway, I picked out a couple of quotes. So Dave Thiers says, "It shows an almost stunning lack of respect for players with the idea that they cannot be trusted with their own gameplay experience." It's almost stunning lack of respect, not just a lack of respect, because it's not easy. It's a stunning lack of respect, or almost a stunning lack of respect. Really, Dave? Really? Okay, let's carry on. It's worth saying time and time again, an easy mode does not have to change the core experience in any way at all, period. An easy mode does not have to change the core experience. Well, if the core experience is overcoming hardships, then yes it does. Unfortunately, you missed the point of it there, Tia. And this other quote is, "Playing a version of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice that had an easy mode would theoretically be completely identical to playing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice now." That is a contradiction in terms, dude. You can't have something that's different and identical. That is a logical in conclusion. That is just plain wrong. Like, and for somebody using the word identical and different to describe something, or two different things, I'm sorry, dude, you don't know what you're talking about there. You might have a couple of points, which we'll get into in just a bit, but that isn't one. That certainly isn't one of them. So Eric Kane retorts, and in his article, which is the very next day, he argues that an easy mode would not change the experience for many players who wish to play it in its pure form. The challenge would remain intact. Giving players choice would be a sign of respect. I fundamentally disagree. I'm not leaving anything to the imagination there is. He's laying it all out. And he goes on to say, we would never learn what FromSoftware and game director Hidetaka Miyazaki hope we will learn. How to overcome the odds, and in so doing, gift ourselves with a sense of pride and achievement. Not quite pride and accomplishment EA style. This is pride and achievement FromSoftware style. And that's a great point, right? It's that the point of the experience is having to overcome the hardships and that feeling of it, right? And in that way, that's the art. That's what the creators want you to experience by experiencing the art. Now, Miyazaki has said in the past that he wants to, quote, to let players experience a sense of accomplishment through overcoming difficulties. And then Kane tops it off by saying, the mountain is steep, but when you reach the top, the view is breathtaking, and all the more so for the climb. So you've got two different people, two opposing points of view, and we've
different
had
levels of quality of writing.
Yeah, well, we've had this conversation, and we've had pretty deep discussion in the office this morning. We thought it's worth discussing, because if we're talking about it, then it's worth the discussion. Now, my point was that if you make an easy version of the game, or just make it easy, you're not gonna, the artistic vision is still intact, because you've still got the regular mode that everyone can still enjoy. It's just more choice for the consumer, and everybody's gonna keep it, gonna play it in the way that they wish. So what was wrong with that? That was the first thing.
Well, so my argument is that the artistic kind of vision they're putting on to the player as a consumer, like that, when you view a painting, you are supposed to feel certain things based on the way the artists have put it together. You're supposed to feel like you're facing the challenge and overcoming it, and adding an easy mode means that to people playing on easy, they won't be experiencing that, and that means the artist vision is lost.
Yeah.
And that does mean that by not having an easy mode, some people just won't like it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like the FromSoft games. It's not because they're hard. I just don't really get into the story. I don't like the way it's presented. The difficulty's by the by. And that's fine. You don't have to like it. Opening it up to potentially thousands of more players by making it easier would yield them more money. Like, it would be more popular.
Yeah.
But having it pure in the core way that the creators envisioned it is the better way to have it, in my opinion. And while some people may not like that, the people who do like it will have a much like deeper experience with it, because it will be on the same wavelength of what the creators wanted.
I think that's what this tier guy is missing, is that it is a creation, it is art, and that's the way that it was made and created in order to elicit some sort of experience from the player, in order to get the player to experience something very special, which is that pride of sense and achievement of overcoming those issues. And for the artist to create it in a certain specific way and not have any room for people who aren't so good, haven't got the time to commit to learning the parrying moves and the telegraphed attacks or whatever, for people who don't have the time for that, right? Once the artist has made that decision, he's going to stick to that. He can't then complain that people don't like it because the game is hard. And outside of people criticizing those people for you need to get good scrubs. It was a bit of a joke in the intro there, but you're perfectly entitled to not like this game because it's too hard, because you don't enjoy it because of the difficulty. That's fine, right? I've played Sekiro. I'm very frustrated by it. I'll leave it at that. Outside of, I did enjoy it. I do enjoy the mechanics. I would love it to be easier. But but then's the question, like, I've paid 60 quid or $60 for this game, right? Shouldn't I be entitled as a gamer to enjoy it more?
No.
No! 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 No!
Shouldn't I? Like, an artist puts his painting on a wall of a gallery, right? You pay for get into the gallery, whatever. It's free a lot of the time, right? You get to experience the painting. All right, you don't like it because the artist got a certain vision, but you've not paid for that. You can just walk out there and not give a shit. But when you've paid £60 for a game, aren't you entitled to, all he's going to have to take is like triple the health bar. That's it. That's all he has to do, and then you're going to enjoy the game. Why can't I have that?
Well, you're paying to play the game. You're paying to view the art in the gallery. You're not paying to enjoy it. One of the microtransaction arguments is that, if you pay us this money for this microtransactions, it will give you this item, which means you can do better. So you're paying more to enjoy it, but it's not the actual
proper experience.
The proper experience, the true, like, integral experience.
Yeah, and just be aware, guys, that I'm introducing these thoughts as they appear in my head. It doesn't mean that I stand by them and say there should be an easy mode in the game. I'm just generating this debate, right? Because I can understand where this tier guy is coming from. I can understand that he wants it easier because he didn't get his enjoyment from the game. I get that, right? And as somebody who doesn't have a lot of time outside of like family and work and everything to spend the 50 hours getting good, like the scrub that I am, I understand, right? So it's just a case of understanding where everyone's coming from, and then you can, and then from a perspective of greater understanding, you can decide how you feel about the situation. That's what this discussion is about.
If you don't have the time to get good, or you just don't really want to, that's fine. There's so much kind of pressure in the hardcore gaming community. It's like, if you don't play Dark Souls, you're not a real gamer. If you couldn't complete, you're not a real gamer. Like, I played through Bloodborne, I finished it. I wouldn't necessarily say I had a happy time, but I did feel like, you know what, yeah, I have beaten it. I've done it.
You've got that badge, badge of honor. Although you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not something I need to do again, because it's not my sort of thing.
I really want to do it again.
And I feel like if you don't like Sekiro, just play another game.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good games. I haven't got time to mess around with one if I don't like it.
But for the sake of just doubling the health bar, it's like I could really enjoy this game and really play it more. Or triple. I mean, triple will be better because you'd have more hits then. But I get where I'll get where the frustration's coming from, Mr. Tier. But I don't get your conclusion that you're entitled to an easy game. I don't get that, right? Because for me, what it boils down to is that game developers should be more free to follow and pursue their artistic vision and not dumb down their games and not be generic and as mass appeal as possible in order to appeal to the largest demographic. I don't see that, right? People should highly curate more very specific experiences, and then those more limited appeal games will find their player base, and that's how you get like cult classics and stuff, right? That's how these like all-time greats, cult classics are created, because people don't dumb down their games and have just broad generic appeal in order for mass sales. That's one of the problems that's wrong with the industry right now, is that people are dumbing down their games and they're just homogenizing all the features so that all the games look the same. And looking at you, Mr. Ubisoft,
I'm sure if there was an easy mode, I probably would enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Like, I would have more fun, but it would be a much more like hollow experience, and I'd rather play the way they wanted and not enjoy it than play some like kind of shallow nothing experience just because I can walk through it really easy.
I would rather pay that $60 and only play it for 2 hours and then think, shit, this is a great game, but it's not for me.
Yes, exactly.
Than have to concede that all creators should create games to our specific criteria. The creators can do what they want, right? And their sales or lack of sales will reflect how good their game is and how well it's received. Okay, it's up to them. They've got the creative decisions, but they will succeed or fail based on those decisions, right? Commercially, I mean. So I would rather them have that freedom and me take the hit on this one and, you know, just let it go on, rather than banging my head against the wall, writing a pissy little article in Forbes trying to get people to make my game easy because I'm a scrub. I'm a scrub, I don't care.
Not every game is for me, and not every game should be. Not every game should like accommodate different playstyles. Like, I love it in games when I can walk into a room and be like, right, I can kill everyone with guns. I can stealth through, I can like sneakily take them out, or I can just walk through and not do anything. That's great, I love that. But there are times when a structured, curated experience is the best way to go, because it means that they can perfect that rather than kind of fiddling with everything else. And one worry that people are having, because it was being published by Activision, was that they would dumb down the difficulty. And I imagine, I can't say for sure, that the team in FromSoft did have to battle to keep it hard, because I feel like Activision would be like, oh, if you make it easier, you'll get mass appeal. And I feel that they would have just been like, no, we're doing it this way because it's what our fans want, and it's our fans who we are building it for.
I think Activision are only publishing. They didn't fund the game. I think FromSoftware made the game themselves, and then in order to distribute it, I think it's only a distribution publishing deal. It's not some sort of like. So Activision wouldn't have had any creative input.
I don't mean like in terms of like pressure, but I feel like they would have floated the idea to them. It's like, oh, if you dumb it down, you can make 10 million more unit sales or something. Well, that's an insane number, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Activision we're talking about here, so you're probably right. So that is what we feel about this discussion topic. I mean, obviously there's lots of different points that we've considered and discussed here. Let us know which of the points hits home with you. Are you somebody who's bought Sekiro but can't enjoy it because it's too hard? Do you just love it even though it's hard? Are you that kind of masochist? Or are you a person who just loves all the Soulsborne games and you're totally behind it? And this tier guy, Dave Tier, he's a second tier journalist. Let's just leave it at that. So cringy. No wonder people say we're cringy.
Because we haven't got a joke of the day today, so we've got to find one.
Shoehorn these mediocre jokes in. But that is only the way that we feel about the situation. You're entitled to your opinion, believe it or not. And if you want to leave them down in the comments, you are more than entitled to, you entitled little prick. So that's it for today. We will be back tomorrow with a regular gaming news roundup video. Pretty good gaming style with all your nuggets and trimmings to boot. We will see you then. Until then, bye for now. What's the guy who made Sekiro's name?
Hidetaka Miyazaki.
That's what he should do. He should just sing that song. I don't want
in a thick
scrubs.
Japanese English accent. That would be so
That should
funny.
be his response to this whole story. I don't want no scrubs.